yes, oh yes, oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing fantastic. We'll be analyzing the situation here for the price of Bitcoin, getting a bit of local volatility with interest rate decision coming in right now. Let's go right away through the comment section and the price of Bitcoin right away, you legends. Much love to everyone. Thank you very much for joining today's stream. And we'll be right away analyzing the situation for the price of Bitcoin. No major local setup here. No major local setup. Much love to everyone. Thanks for joining. Let's turn the music down. Let's go through the comment section. Bitcoin getting a little bit of a bounce in the end, finally, from that zone that we were talking about yesterday. So we did end up forming that swing failure pattern from that fair value gap zone. I did get stopped out a couple of times, guys, as explained and as promised on yesterday's stream, where I was analyzing the situation. I did get stopped out once. I got stopped out twice and finally got into this long trade. However, wanted to collect some profits right now just before the news. The target zone was the highs, but as we were coming up to the highs just a few minutes before the news, I mean, this is already a take profit zone if you did long either the daily, such as myself, or either long here this SFP level as explained on yesterday's stream, guys, targeting 64,400, right, which was the highs of Tuesday. And at the end of the day, risk to reward was much better. You can risk one or two stop losses if there is a high probability bounce happening here in this zone. We were speculating on having that 5-wave move to the downside, okay, which was this one right over here. See if I have it here. We're talking about that 5-wave move to the downside on yesterday's stream, right? We get the levels off the way here. This was the general idea from yesterday, right? Get that 5-wave move down and look for that 5th wave to get that bounce to come to the 4th wave territory, right? Or at least the 382, which was hit, and actually hitting the 50% as we do to get that leg to the downside. So I did take that trade. I accidentally took all of the profits, which is okay because that turns between yesterday and today a green trade, guys. I'm going to share my stop losses as promised from yesterday's 2 long positions. Okay, stop loss number 1 from yesterday, as promised, $1,200. I got stopped out on the next attempt. I was worried about the price breaking down, so I'd rather get stopped out. We reclaimed that level, SFP, and re-entered 7,700 in profit. So I did risk over $3,000, but it's okay to get stopped out if you have a good projection. And finally did make between today and yesterday basically over $4,000 approximately, right? Risking just over $3,000, okay, on that 2 long positions. As explained, I will share tomorrow the setups, okay? This is what I explained yesterday. It's okay, right? Stop losses are there to be hit. If you got a good plan, you got a good risk management, and you know your reward that you can very likely get, right, in the next 24 hours, right? As explained yesterday, this is not a quick profit trade. It's going to potentially take 24 hours or even 48 hours, right? Not even 20 hours. We are here back on the stream after 20 hours from yesterday's stream. We do see that the price indeed got that bounce, right? As explained yesterday, from this region, we had the daily, we had the fair value gap. The projection was as so. Is this the one that is going to give me the profits, right? Or is it this one right over here that is going to give me the profits all the way up to the high? So naturally, as we do have news today, it does make sense to take most of those profits, right? We were just about to hit the highs, but when there is news, we understand that, it's just not worth it, right? I'm going to explain what we have on this move to the upside and what are the next trading setups that I'm looking for. Okay, so as promised yesterday, guys, I'm going to share my stop losses from yesterday, and I will share the profits from that long setup. Okay, so the stop loss, first stop loss yesterday on stream, 1,200. Second stop loss after the stream, we did end up moving down to that pivot, so I had a second stop loss. And I did mention that I was likely going to re-enter because I know I'm going to make those stop losses back and even make profits. Okay, so this is the whole idea, right, of managing risk very, very well and understanding the projections that are realistic, right? If this is going to stop me out again, I don't usually get more into two trades if either both are stopped out. But if I understand the projection and I understand it's worth another trade, it's worth another stop loss, because I understand that we're very likely going to come, to this 64.4K high. Obviously, just a few minutes after the news, we could dump, right? We don't know where the news is going to actually project, and we did project to the downside. So, if you are in this trading area 5-10 minutes before the news, that the news might do this or it might do this, right? You just don't know. So it makes sense after a major news event that you do take most of the profits, leave some open. My idea here was to take around about 75% profit, but for some reason I clicked by accident 100% take the profits, right? And it's okay as long as it's profits, right? Profits are profits. I would be glad if the price does nuke down from here. But yeah, it's obviously on yesterday's stream we explained that and coming to the fourth wave target here with the 382 Fibonacci. This is already your TP area, right? It is common to hit those highs, I have to say, but 382 is a minimum zone. We already hit 50% Fibonacci from the overall move to the downside. So if you had any long position from yesterday based on the setups that I was sharing for myself, right? This is already a TP zone, right? Especially before we get the news event. Okay, so as promised, there's nothing to hide here. There's nothing to hide. I'm happy to share the stop losses, right? And as explained yesterday, there's no quick profits on this trade, right? This is going to easily take 24 hours, which it took around about, give or take 21 hours, right? As we finished the stream yesterday, around about 7:30 p.m. Central European time. So it's currently past 2:30 Central European time. So just about 20 hours, right, for this day trade, right? So let me go quickly through the comment section. Okay, it's all about managing risk. Stop losses are fine if you do have a good plan and a good projection. The stop losses will be paid and you will make profits, right? So I'm fine risking 1,200 and then risking 2,200 on the next stop, right? That's fine. 3,300, 3,500, give or take, right? With some fees. So, making over $4,000 based on those stop losses, right? As promised, I will, as said yesterday, right? I will share the stop losses and I'll share the projected move, which is going to pay my stop loss and give me profits. Okay, so it's very important to understand this when we're trading, right? Stop losses are there to be hit. They are there to manage risk, just in case, if we would have got the breakdown and we would have got beneath this level where we had this fair value gap, we had we still have a 2-hour order block right there, and range point of control from June, July. that if I would take a decision down here depending on the price action, but I don't want to have a long open, because if I wouldn't have that stop loss and we would have broken down, so say that I didn't enter this second attempt, right, that third attempt that we mentioned yesterday, if I don't have a stop loss, I would have easily been losing, $7,000-8,000 down here based on my risk tolerance, right, from this day trade. I need to have a stop loss. I'd rather get out and wait for the reaction on that level, right, which is this one right over here. We had this as the last chance. I don't want to have any long positions in this zone. There's a fair value gap. We got a lack of support in this zone, so I know that the price could slice through it, right, and just literally just collapse. So if you don't have a stop loss, I will be, losing in this trade, 7, 8, maybe 9, right? Depending if you don't have a stop loss or you have a stop loss down here, right? It all depends on your risk tolerance, right? I would rather get stopped out and then check the reaction at this zone. And based on yesterday's analysis, we were talking about, this does make a lot of sense that, based on Elliott wave theory on the lower time frame, we were talking about how the price would, for this wave 5, would very, very likely be forming, not this scenario, this scenario right over here, which ended up forming that longer fourth wave, right? If we range here, as explained yesterday, this is the scenario that made the most sense. There was a little bit of an issue here with basically, hang on a minute, with the volume, right? Volume is very intimidating. It was intimidating. I would have been happy to share a third stop loss, guys, as promised, right? I would have been happy to say, guys, 3 stop losses on yesterday's long attempt that we discussed on the stream. Nothing to hide, it would have been a bad day. It would have been a red day yesterday, right? But it ended up being green based on the projection that we were analyzing on yesterday's stream, right? So it would have been, if it would have been a stop loss, I would have shared, right? Would have been another $1,500 stop loss potentially. So yeah, would have been happy to share that as well in today's stream, right? It would have been a red day, so we can't make all of the days green. But between yesterday and today, it ended up being green. So happy that you actually could see that, right? Based on the analysis yesterday, based on the projection, 20 hours later, as promised, we see this happening, right? And this is the importance of risking the similar, right? Sometimes it can differ, 0.1% or 0.2%, that's fine. But you need to trade with a similar amount, give or take 1 to 2%, right? Maybe 0.5 to 1%, maybe if you want to have lower risk, obviously, right? So it does make sense to take most of the profits before the news, okay? I would say easily 75%. I actually closed all of the trade, and it does make sense. Also, because of this price action, okay? As you can see, what we have right now would be a 3-wave development, okay? I do not know if we are going to pop out here and form a wave 4 and a wave 5, right? We don't know if that's going to happen, especially before the news, right? So it's all about managing the trade, understanding the situation that is going to happen, which is the news today, right? The camera a little bit low. Not that you're interested in seeing me, but it doesn't matter. So when you're having a 3-wave move to the upside, and you don't know if you're going to form the 4-5, we do clearly know that the movement down that we had in the last, between Monday, Tuesday, right, part of Wednesday, this is clearly a 5-wave move down. you forming a 3-wave move up, already coming to this 4th wave territory. You just, this is the trade, right? Despite taking out the highs, we need to understand as well, based on the news that we have had, which is inflation rate, right? We're just getting a little bit of a dump right now as that news comes out. Core inflation 2.6, 3.5, actual. Okay, so inflation has gone down ever so slightly, ever so slightly. 0.1% basically on core and inflation, and we're just getting a dumpy reaction at the moment with this information that we are getting. Okay, so yeah, happy that this trade finally worked out, right? And it doesn't matter, right? As explained, oh, stop loss hit, oh my goodness, oh, another stop loss. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna this is a good a good risk to reward. It's very, very classic after a 5-wave move down to when you get support zone. If we would have broken down, I just would have done the walk of shame today and say, guys, wow, yesterday was a bad day, right? Losing over $5,000, but it ended up being a $4,000 profitable, 24 hours, right? We could argue discuss. Okay, so there's no fast trade. I wouldn't have shorted here just before the news, guys. So for me, I am missing this move to the downside. It's a trade that I'm particularly not interested, right? For the moment. So we're going to map out the situation, and I'll explain a little bit where my next trade is going to be, right? Patience is required. We're going to be analyzing very carefully the scenarios, right? And we'll look for the next potential trade setup, okay? Which I don't think it might be today. I'm going to map a few scenarios on this move to the upside, and I don't think I'll have a trade set up for today, guys, based on the news coming in right now. And maybe by tonight. I mean, this move is relatively fresh. So I'll map out the Elliott wave scenarios here on what we could be looking for. Obviously, there's going to be 3-4 scenarios inevitably, right? But all of those 3-4 scenarios, there is going to be a trade setup behind one of the scenarios, right? One of each scenario, depending on how the price develops here. So, yeah, we'll do that on today's stream, guys. So make sure to get your cup of tea, cup of coffee, your Coke, your water, your whatever you are drinking. And, yeah, we're going to try and make this stream over an hour, maybe 2, because we'll map out the situation on the 1-hour time frame and the 4-hour time frame. And today I will do my best to not get distracted. Yesterday we just left everything on the 4-hourly and 1-hourly. We were so focused on what was happening, locally yesterday for those, intraday setups, which, screw the higher time frame. Let's get into a day trade. But I think it's important to understand. I came for my entry, right? Let's go through the comment section first of all, and order flow did not help very much with that movement down, because we did get increasing open interest with negative delta, which is it is rare. Okay, this is not, no indicator is or tool that you're using is 100% accurate. It's impossible. It can be 80% or 75% accurate, right? And order flow was a little bit, was teasing yesterday. We did have open interest as we were creating the latest low, which was it was a bit confusing, right? You might think, wow, this is having power, there's lots of negative volume and open interest increasing, which can bring that potential breakdown. Okay, so delta here, order flow was with open interest was not in favor of taking this long. But Elliott wave theory was even more powerful than reading order flow in this case, because this is the thing when with trading, right? You might have some indicators that just doesn't look good. This is why the less indicators that you have, it's actually even better. I stopped using order flow because I realized with my strategies and levels and Elliott wave theory that it's enough. It is seriously enough. Elliott wave theory here coming into that SFP level actually had a better chance of playing out. Well, it did play out more than the order flow, which was coming down with open interest increasing and negative delta. So yeah, that was the only thing on order flow. Order flow did not play ball on this long setup. You want to see open interest decrease, really, as you get that negative delta to trap those shorts. Anyway, that was not enough power with open interest. Lots of trap shorts, lots of shorts entering here at the low, which was interesting. As you can see here, 44 million at 63.4k. That's on Binance. 54 against 26 million long. So there's more shorts entering here. And all of these shorts are getting wrecked, right, in the last 20 hours, which is, I got positioned on this long position as promised yesterday, right? That I accidentally took all of the profit on that long, guys, just before the news. But you maybe, if you did take that long, you can take, 70% and leave a runner, because there is a chance for the bulls, there's a chance for the bulls for this to be a low here, right? Can this be a higher low? And boom, up we go. The probabilities are actually quite low for this, but it is possible. They are lower. I think that this move to the downside is going to project another leg down. I do believe that we do. I prefer this scenario, forming a lower high, than rather forming a higher low here. And I will explain why a little bit in detail throughout this stream. Okay. All right. Comment section. Sorry, my bad, guys. Much love. Hey, hello, Andy and Legends. Olivier, much love to you, my man. Much appreciate you joining the stream. Sky, how are you doing? Afternoon. Wayne, how are you doing, my man? Much love to the legend. King K, thank you so much for the kind words. Good morning, fam. Ilrich, Simple Jack, hi all. Let's go, legends here. THN from Denmark, if I'm not mistaken. So, Andy, did you take a trade? Why not shared in the community? Same as Devolt. Well, this trade was also shared, was mainly shared on YouTube, right? This is the trade. If we do see something different, right, as an opportunity, but just because I did a marathon live stream yesterday, okay, we want people to watch the streams as well, because we will talk about a setup on the stream, right? So it was shared on YouTube. The plan was shared on YouTube here, so there's no need to add anything, even though on the community, it's if we can find something different and we're not on YouTube, for example, right, we will add, right, a new setup if the price has moved differently, right? But I mean, yesterday we did almost a 5-hour stream, and we just talking through the setups, right? And as we were going through here, so yeah, it was mentioned community, YouTube, right? If there's something different and we're not on YouTube and we are taking a different trade that has been mentioned on YouTube, then obviously we will inform, right? That's the idea. We are absolutely dumping, says Chef Money. Yes. Suzanne, hello. How are you doing? Dumpolinos, Sky. The Mikel, CPI is neutral. Hello, everybody. As CPI, inflation is slightly lower, like 0.1% lower. ICP 0. Sergio, what does it mean that was 3.5 to 3.4? Is that going to affect the market? Yes. Well, it's a bit of local volatility, right? CPI data is out already. Which pending news are you saying, Andy? Yeah, CPI data as we were entering the live stream, right? I waited for the short late on the move. I am not in a new short position. I did not short this. No short here. For me, there was just not a setup in this zone. I will explain the setups that I'm going to get on today's, that I want to see the price moving. I have no local setup, just like yesterday, right? Attempting that long position from here to get that rally. Chef Money, how are you doing? Don't forget to smash up the like button. A trader, right? Bulls has entered the cage. Later will be sent out to slaughterhouse. Much love. Yeah, maybe. I do think that the market is looking a bit bearish. The projections to the downside actually look more interesting at this moment. Walk of shame is business expenses. As long as the wins are bigger than the losses, all good. Devil trading. There we go, my man. Much love for you. Thanks for joining the stream here. And yeah, this is the thing. Yesterday we did a very, very long stream. Happy to say I got stopped out. I'm gonna get stopped out if we do get that move down beneath the recent lows, but I will take another attempt here at 62.3k, basically 62.3 on the fair value gap, right, which was this level right over here. The probabilities of getting that bounce with this being a 5-wave move to at least the 382 and possibly hit this high was just very, very high, guys. It's just I'm willing to risk a couple of stop losses if it's in your risk tolerance, right? For me, it was in my risk tolerance. It's all good. And as promised, I told you guys yesterday, I will share the trade, the profits, and you can see the stop losses and what you pay, right? These are business expenses, as Devil is saying, right? First stop loss, second stop loss, and you're like, oh man, you're getting stopped out a few times. Is it worth getting into another one? And as explained yesterday, it definitely was, right? So in the end, making a good profit. I'm happy with that profit in the last 24 hours. So now it's all about what next trade can I get into to make more profits, right? Or get stopped out, right? This is what we do, guys. I'm sharing everything, nothing to hide. And this is what it's all about. Much love to everybody, okay? Thanks for joining, A-Trader. Shout out to you, my man. Just smashed it. Thank you so much, guys. If you do enjoy the content, right, we try and map the situation. We like to go through what happened yesterday. What if we traded? What's the profits? What's the stop loss? Is it worth it? Yeah, as you can see, it was definitely worth it. Definitely worth it, okay? So, Andy, it's often not possible to watch marathon streams. It would be amazing if you could post summary setups in the community. Victoria, that is totally true. That is totally true. Yeah, this is something that we need to acknowledge, that not many people are going to be here for 4 or 5 hours, even though I am here. And that is true, that I should just, it's easy just enough to post a screenshot of the setup here, right? For example, this in the community, just as a reminder on what the kind of setup we are looking for, what projection, right? So it is totally true. My bad. I'm actually it will be the last time that I do not do this, I'm going to have to say, right? Community is important. Community needs to be updated with the latest, because if they're not on YouTube or they can't watch YouTube, they want that screenshot of the setup. So Devil was mainly posting the scenarios and the setups yesterday, which was also the same idea as we were talking about here on YouTube. So the projection and the setup was also shared by Devil, okay, in the community yesterday. Counting the waves, counting the scenario. Devil, I did see, was also looking at this movement to the downside yesterday with this projection, right? Wave 5, come down here and look for that bounce. Okay, so guys, remember, trading community, okay, that's where we also leave the setups, leave the analysis. That's if we're not on YouTube, of course. If we are on YouTube, you don't want to take advantage to watch on YouTube. What are we mapping here to potentially make some new gains, a new setup that I would be looking for, okay? So if you are interested in joining the community, send me the word access if you're not in already, right? And I'll share the information. Literally, if you sign up throughout one of the affiliate links down below, you do a minimum deposit, you continue trading as you do. We just share the analysis, potential setups, right? You need to trade on your own. We are not financial advisors. We share the ideas of what we want to trade, right? We're not financial advisors. We cannot tell you what to do. Never, ever. We cannot do that because we can get into trouble, right? We basically share our analysis, what the setups are looking for. I'm happy to share it here on YouTube. The stop losses, the profit, the projections, what we talked about. Was it right? Was it wrong? For the moment, the analysis yesterday was right. It was right. You like it or not, right? The projection, the trade was right, even though you risk a stop loss or two. The setup is there, right? And if it was wrong, I cannot hide. I'm going live almost every day, right? So we cannot hide. We need to just share the setup, if it's stopped out, the risk management, and how we're managing that trade, and how we're managing the next trade, right? At the end of the day, we are here to make gains. Yo, Andy, did you leave a runner from 58.8K? Yes, I still have a runner from that swing long, Brocto. Yeah, 58.4K. Yeah, still have that swing runner right there, which most of the profits have been taken. And the main reason I've shared this as well in the community, been sharing the swing long from July, that significant profits were taken on this last push that we had here above 65.6K high, targeting 67.2. But the problem of this is most of the profits from this swing long that was shared in the trading community was mainly taken because of the potential of a 3-wave move up here. All explained in detail. I did say that this trade could take, several weeks, 2, 3, maybe even 4, and still leaving a significant chunk open, because there is a chance of taking out the local highs and hitting 67K plus, right? It's not looking as great. Of course, on Saturday, Sunday, I think that having a swing short from those highs of the weekend, right? Monday, as explained, hitting value area high. Very likely that this push to the upside is coming to an end, or very close to an end. We could double, triple top. This is a shorting zone, right? Explaining the potential diagonal, the potential double top, the potential projection that we are looking for here as a short position on the entry, right? Looking to target minus 62.5. Yes, you can take profits because this could be an impulse. It could be an impulse up. We could have corrected down, and there's a few scenarios. So yeah, this swing short, you can leave a significant chunk open. It's all about trade management, right? And this is probably going to take days to develop. So yeah, in this short as well. So yesterday was a green day in the end, today. And the weekend short, as explained on the video update, guys, subscribe to the channel, smash up the like, put your notification on. If you did not watch before Monday and you watched this on Monday, Tuesday as we were dumping, you missed this trade setup idea, right? That I was looking for, which I did enter on the phone actually in the airport. I was traveling back from the UK. And it's all valid, guys. You need to take some action. You need to take action as well, if you wish, right? We're not babysitting people here. we're just educating, and so you can see the power of trading. So in that short position as well, I did enter with a small amount. I ended up adding to that position based on the potential breakdown, and covered the stop loss, and still with having that position open here, because I do feel that this, from the short mentioned on the Saturday video update, from this short, it can very much be a swing, and we could be looking at the lows at 62.3K to be hit. The general projection is still valid from that swing short that we mentioned. Day trade swing, right? It could take a few days. It is taking a few days already to develop. This video was from Saturday. We double topped on Monday, so it's 2 days into this trade, or 3 if you entered on Saturday, Sunday, that's fine, But yeah, have a 5-wave move down. If we there's a few Elliott wave scenarios where we could have a 5-wave down and a correction up, which is what we're going to discuss today. And where would be the best setups where I would take, right? Don't worry, guys. If you're here for quick gains, there's many channels that do, quick local scalps, which I think is very, very difficult, and it's not worth it, because you're going to end up paying fees and paying, and just it's not worth getting into 5 trades in a day or 10 trades, guys. Really, honestly, if you want my honest opinion, scalping is ferocious. You'll end up paying more fees and getting stopped out more than you think. So we want a good projection, trade that could last a few days. So this is why I'm super chilled. There's no quick trade now, right? There's no scalp. It's a day trade. It's going to take hours. It's going to take maybe a day or two to develop, just like the long trade setup that we explained yesterday, right, guys? There's no quick trade. There's no quick profits to be made here. This is a projection that easily will take 24 hours. 24 hours later, we are up here, right? So it requires patience. It does require patience. There's no quick scalps with little moves of $500 to be made where we are at the moment. Okay, so we're going to build up the projection. We're going to build up the analysis, and I will talk about the next setups that I would be looking for. Okay, so yes, can the deposit be placed in USDC? Absolutely, it can. Yeah, no worries. I can share the info and I can walk you through so you can get access to the trading community and also access to order flow. You'll get access to CVD divergence, right? It's important to use the affiliate links down below and trade as you do, because literally you're paying the subscription with the trading fees that you're going to pay trading fees anyway. So, part of those fees do come to us, and this helps us to get developers. We create products so we can be better traders. Stuff that can help us to trade. You got guidance inside of the Telegram community, right? From myself and Devilt on what we are doing, what we are looking for, how we're looking for the setup, just to make you a better trader. And all of this does cost a lot. We've got developers, website developers that we are, creating all of this, which it is expensive. It is expensive. And there's no additional cost to you. You only trading as you do, but with one of the affiliate links, and then you help us, create all of this, the guidance, the hours that myself and Devilt, take every day for YouTube or for the community, for mindpillar.com, which we are developing all of these different great tools and indicators, order flow being the latest one, and we're still developing. So the more people join, the more we can help, the more we can make a better product. Okay. So yeah, I'll send the information, right? If you just send me the word access, and it's no additional cost to you. You just trade as you do using one of the affiliate links down below. Bluffin, 2bit, Kraken, you can choose whichever one you want. Okay, for me, they're all great. They're all good. We do study the exchanges. We do look at their track record and their history and see if they are legit. Of course, we don't want to talk about any exchange that is not legit, right? We do our best. We do our due diligence, right? We want to offer the best options for our community. Right. Okay. Right. Let me just quickly do that disclaimer. Of course, guys, I forgot to do the disclaimer, which is very important, right? That the content is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. The information provided, is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision, any trading decision, guys. We just educators, right? We are experienced traders and analysts, okay, mainly for Bitcoin, myself and Devilt, and we're just sharing what we see, what we can do, right, and how we are managing our money, basically, right? How we're managing our trades, our risk management, and we want the best for you guys. We want you to absorb and see the numbers and see that this is possible. Trading as a career is very, very possible. And you can make some great gains and consistent gains long term, right? But you needed it properly. You need to be very, very good and very patient on the trades and projections, right? So yeah, that said, thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Thank you very much for smashing the like button. I'm just going to get a drink of water, and I will. So yeah, that said, I will go through the. Let's try and get to 100 likes, guys. That would be awesome. And Andy, I made my stop loss back and done some more profits with this long. There we go, right? It's just, there we go, right? Thanks for that confirmation, my man. Yeah, yesterday was a little bit, I do get that stop loss can be frustrating, especially if you're risking a little bit more than you should. But as explained, in my risk tolerance, I'm happy to get stopped out again because I know that this trade is going to pay my stop loss and I'm going to make profits. Very, very likely, right? It's not 100% accurate, of course, right? As explained with a disclaimer, but there's a very, very good chance, right? There's a very, very good chance that I will end up making the stop loss back with profits. So it's all okay, okay? It's all okay. The stop losses are our friend, right? Can you have a leading diagonal in a wave A or a flat? Can you have a leading diagonal in a wave A of a flat? No, you cannot. you cannot have a leading diagonal, okay, in a wave A. So leading diagonal, and then move down, and I guess this would be a flat to the upside. ABC, you cannot have that leading diagonal. A wave A in a flat has to be a three-wave structure. It cannot be a leading diagonal. So it has to be either a simple ABC, or it can also be a flat. You can have a flat in an A wave of a bigger flat. So you can have a zigzag down and then the impulse up. This is allowed, okay? B and C. Having a wave A being a flat, zigzag down, and an impulse to finish the C wave of the flat is possible. It's actually, even, I wouldn't say very, very common. I mean, the most common is just a regular flat, right? Which you have a three wave up, a three wave down, and the impulsive move up. That's the most common flat, expanding flat, of course, taking out the lows of A wave and taking out the highs of the top of the A wave, right? But yeah, this is not valid. This right over here, leading diagonal for a wave A of a flat, no sir. Okay, this is not a correct count. It is not possible to see on the chart. If you find one, let me know. I can already tell you, you will not find a leading diagonal. Okay, and then an impulse up. If you find one, I'll send you $100 of USDT. If you can find a flat with wave A being a leading diagonal. So I'll send you $100 of USDT if you find one. You can speak to me on the Telegram. I got it down below. If you find one, I'll send you 100 USDT. How about that? Anyway, let's continue with the comment section. It's just not possible. Okay, it's not possible to see. Is this a successful retest of the full range point of control of June? Yeah, very, very, very possible. Yeah, that's an interesting take right there. We can take a look at that. Okay, enough comment section, guys. I know a lot of people are here for the analysis. Yeah, kind of. This does turn naturally into a resistance point, but for me, it's just not. It's not a good short, really, for me at the moment. I'll explain and I'll map the situation on my next trade setup that I would be looking for between today and tomorrow. Okay, my day tomorrow, Devil's doing a long stream. I will be focusing in the community tomorrow. Okay, so if I am not on YouTube tomorrow, I will be focusing on community. So I will be looking for that intraday setup tomorrow in the community, not on YouTube. I'm not doing YouTube tomorrow. Devil will be doing YouTube. So yeah, if you are interested in that, you know where to find us, guys. Send me the word access. I'll send the information, sign up throughout one of the affiliate links, right? Minimum deposit for your own trading, and you get access to mindpillar.com and the trading community on YouTube. Okay, much love. Andy, can we have a WXY inside a wave inside A? Yes, you can. You can have a WXY. Okay, just a quick explanation here from the questions that people are asking, right? We need to, obviously, this is a bit of Q&A, of course, right? Questions and answers. You can have, it would be more on the 15-minute, 1 hour time frame where you have zigzag up, right? Correction, whatever, in wave X, and another zigzag to the upside. This can be an A wave of a flat, right? Then you have a, zigzag down and then the impulse to the upside, A, B, C. A WXY here is possible for your A wave of a flat. And the main reason why double zigzag WXY is because it is a three-wave structure. And wave A of a flat needs to be a three-wave structure. Simple zigzag, WXY, or a flat. WXY obviously would be zigzag, correction, zigzag. That is double zigzag. That is possible for wave A and also a flat. Okay. All of these can be a wave A and even a wave B, because B also needs to be a 3-wave structure. The only one that cannot be a 3-wave structure is C wave. The C wave can be an ending diagonal. It can be just a normal impulse. It can be an expanding 5th wave. C wave needs to be a 5-wave structure of on a flat. Okay. Right. Said that. Let's go right away through the analysis on the what time frame. I'm going to let you choose. Let me know in the comment section. Shall we do 4 hour or 1 hour? Let me know. I'm going to let you choose 4 hour analysis, which is from this low, or 1 hour analysis from this high with this move down. Do we do 4 hour on this move up and see what we got? We'll do both anyway on the stream. I want to let you choose which one do we do first, and then I'll go through the comment section. Did we just top? Hey Andy, long time no see. Is it possible we're printing now nested 1-2s for bullish scenario? ITM, nested 1-2s here on the 15-minute, I assume, right? 5 minute. There's a little bit of a problem with these nested 1-2s. And that is this movement down coming to the golden pocket. The problem with nested 1-2s is that 1-2, 1-2, preferably this would have been 3rd wave, okay? Preferably this would have been the 3rd wave already developing, and what you want to see is wave 4, 5, 4, and 5, right? That's what would have been, the preferred scenario to short, obviously, the 4 5s, right? Coming into resistance. But with this pullback, the probabilities of having this as another wave 1 actually decrease. So if you are thinking that this is a 3rd wave 1, we got a big problem at the moment, which is the 3rd wave 1 is twice the length of your 2nd wave 1, and that's very, very rare to see. It is very, very rare. So the probabilities are really, really low, and you don't take it too much into consideration. Is it possible? It is possible. Everything is possible, right? At the end of the day, it's just about the probabilities. Is this high probability that this is a 3rd wave 1 and 2? And I have to say, no, the probabilities are low for this. Usually, most commonly, right, you do get your 2nd, 3rd wave 1s being smaller or similar in size. They can be a little bit longer. They can hit the 1, 2, 3, 6, your 2nd wave 1. That's okay. Your 3rd wave 1 can be slightly longer than the 2nd one. That's fine, but not twice the length, right? Not double the size. That, you know, the higher you go from 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 3, 8, 2, that's already low probability, and even 1.618 is very low, and then twice the length for this to be a wave 1 is just probably not what we're looking at, right? Because if you're believing that, okay, multiple 1-2s, we form a higher low here, and we then form the wave 3, it's low probability. This 3rd wave 1 is twice the length from your 2nd one, and I think round about 1.618 times longer than your 1st one. So if we get the length of the 1st wave 1 right there, we click and we put it to the lows, basically, where this wave starts. Yeah, it's 1.61 times longer. This wave over here is 1.618 times longer than this one. Not what you want to see when you're forming multiple 1-2s. You want the 2nd, 3rd wave 1 and 2 being similar in size, or even smaller, better, preferably, right? This could be the scenario, not the 3rd one being like really, really long. That lowers the probability for this. Okay, right. Okay, let me just quick stand up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just doing a bit of a Q&A here on questions. Happy to do so always. We're here to help. We're here to solve problems or questions that you have. I have a very basic, stupid question. Nothing is stupid, guys. Everybody started from, everybody starts from somewhere, right? I started in 2017, my trading journey, and the first 2 years I had many questions, many doubts and everything. In 2020, about 2020 is when I was really starting really good with my trading. on the third year, I would argue discuss, is when I was, I kind of cracked the code, cracked the risk management, cracked the consistency, at least for me anyway. You can do that faster if you join the community. You can ask more questions there, and there's always a motorway, right, to learn faster. And I wish I had a community. I wish I had someone on YouTube such as myself now to kind of explain all of these details and the setups and the risk management, and just sharing the trading opportunities, right? Oh man, this would have been awesome for me if I would have saw on a channel back in 2018 where I could have learned like this. Would have made things much easier. Andy, have you considered a triangle from the top of W around 66k? And we are developing a wave C. All right, last question at the moment, and then I'll focus on the analysis for 15-20 minutes, guys, because we need to know and understand what's going on in the market and how we can approach the next opportunities between today and tomorrow. Okay, so but it's always good. I'm happy to answer questions. Andy, have you considered a triangle from the top of W around 66k? And we are developing wave C. Right. I haven't considered, as of yet, a triangle here. I assume that this is the kind of triangle that you are talking about. From 66.6k, right? I think from this high, I assume. So A, B, and now we're forming C. I guess this is what you're talking about here. And then we form D and E, right, for the next coming days. And then obviously this triangle naturally would be a wave X. I would really say that this would be a wave X. That's 3 wave up in W, right? A triangle here in wave X, and then we're looking for that double zigzag to finish Y, above 67k. This would be a very, very good short position, because if you do form a triangle, which there are some red flags, I'll explain. I mean, it doesn't look good for a triangle, and it all is because of this first wave A, which we have a 5 wave move down. So we shouldn't be even looking at this at the moment, because the probabilities of this being a wave A is actually very low. There is a chance, I have to say. There is a chance you can fit some kind of a 3 wave move down here, with having it's just, there is a very, very dirty way of finding a 3 wave move down here. It would have to be a WXY, and it is actually rare to see a WXY on an A wave of a triangle. Usually they happen on a C wave or a D wave. But I have to give it a valid option. There is not a greatest possibility of not the greatest looking 3 wave move down here. It does look more as a 5 waver, right? You have a 5 wave move down here from 66k, that's higher probability of some kind of a 5 waver. So you need to build up other continuation corrections. One of them would be the triangle, but as it's a 5 waver, this doesn't fit nicely to be forming a triangle. It doesn't fit nicely to form a triangle because of this A wave, 5 wave move. You can fit a very ugly WXY, but I will build the higher probability scenarios. I mean, I'm not considering this because of this movement down on the A wave at the moment. If we were to get a bounce, where it would be looking interesting, but still very risky, is that, yes, if we form a higher low from this pivot, we form a corrective structure here, and E wave, I mean, this move down does prove itself that it is looking very corrective, then I would say, right, guys, this is probably the triangle. I would be very interested in a swing long here in the next coming days. Invalidation is always your C wave low, right? This low over here. This is going to take a few days, but the most important movement here would be the E wave. if it is proven overlappy and corrective, we can have an attempt of entering that trade. Obviously, the projection is taking out the highs and going even higher. Of course, we would be looking for that WXY. But yeah, this we will know in the coming days if it is looking good for a triangle. Okay, I have to say. The moment a triangle looks interesting is that if that C wave comes in here, right, and does move up and forms a lower high, we want to be cautious because this movement down could be a wave 1. You bounce here, wave 2, wave 3, right, and then you're trying along a triangle and you just break down. We need a very choppy move down with overlap to detect that it is a corrective move to then decide if we're going to enter that long later on. This is going to take a few days, okay? It's something that we might talk about in a few days if we basically print that D wave and we correct down here. Okay, so we'll leave that for a few days. But yeah, nice spot. It could be interesting. We need more information, of course, right? A triangle only becomes interesting when your D wave is in and you're correcting. That's where it becomes interesting here to say, right, it's probably going to pop. So if it is forming a triangle, there's no rush, right? We just form this still. It still needs to form that local bounce and then get that correction. Then we'll be paying attention to see how we move down. Shorts will be looking interesting, of course. I think that would be in between tonight and tomorrow as a new short, because there are some interesting bearish scenarios here. Okay, right, let's go dive in. You're very welcome, my man Joseph. Yes, exactly. Much love. What happens if everyone is a good trader or bots become really accurate? Well, you know what's good about trading? I learn on how, obviously markets do change and you just need to adapt to it. That I'm not worried about. Everybody's not going to be a good trader. That's it. It's close to impossible. Trading is incredibly difficult skill that you need to develop throughout the years. But if bots become very accurate, what you will be learning is what bots do to stop people out, right? There's always something that you can learn, right? This is why in trading, why aren't there super accurate bots that you can just pay and make, 200% gains every year or every month? Because trading always changes. Humans will always be on top of any trading bot. Always. Share me a bot that is actually consistently profitable, because I'm happy to put a lot of money in. I will be happy. I've never found one. They can be profitable for a month or two, maybe 3, especially the grid bots, which is just buying at the lows and shorting at the highs of a range. But there's no long-term sustainable trading bot, at least that I've never come through. And I've tested, dozens of bots, trading bots. They are profitable, then losers, and then break even, a good month, a bad month, and they're just not consistent. And always a human will always be better than a bot, because you are learning also, right? What is, you're adapting to the market. You are adapting to the market. And one of the things that I changed was, for example, covering my stop loss, but still having the stop loss behind the pivot. So if I've covered this stop loss from the short, right, from Sunday, Monday, stop loss is still behind that high. Based on the long trade, the last long trade that I got in yesterday, that I did take all of the profits as explained, guys. I did get stopped out twice, shared, right, the stop losses from yesterday of the 2 long attempts. And I did say that I was going to re-enter just after the stream. We did claim the lows again, right? And we did actually SFP'd the fair value gap at 63.3. My stop loss was still at the lows. And this is something that I discovered in the last year, basically, that what's going to happen, the fair value gap right there, which we got a wick, right? I'm longing in this area and I'm having the stop loss below the wick. As you can see on the 3-minute time frame, and this is something that I did a lot, and I just realized that I'm getting stopped out at break even on a huge amount of trades, leaving profits on the table, right? And now actually the price going on the actual direction that I'm kind of predicting, right? Based on the analysis. This happened. Then, what I realized based on the risk, on how I'm managing the trade, a lot of the times, right, you can see on this, basically this trade, right? If I'm projecting a move here to the upside, as explained yesterday on that fair value gap SFP, look at this on the 1-minute time frame, right? You get the wick, you get a movement up, and this is already creating a 2-to-1 risk reward, right? Let's just analyze this as of, trade management. This is a 1-to-1 already, right? Do I take most of the profits here? Or you're 50%, right? It's a 1-to-1. I'm projecting a big move, right? It's a day trade that's going to take easily 24 hours, as explained yesterday. My before self, I mean, not on this move, I'll probably still have stop loss, but sometimes you get a bigger move, right? And you're making a 2-to-1 risk reward. Let's just imagine that this reaction from the fair value gap got a bigger move up. I probably would have taken 50% of the profits and then protect position. And I've noticed that a lot of the times Bitcoin comes down at a major level to create a very, very slightly higher low. And we are hitting the 0.88 more often than we used to back in 2023, 2022. We didn't hit the 0.88 for a higher low or a lower high very often a few years ago. And I am noticing that the price of Bitcoin is doing that much more often, getting a retracement from the bounce, okay, from the bounce down to the 0.88 Fibonacci. And even the 0.9 just almost hitting the low. So, you come to the conclusion that stop loss needs to be below the level, because my past, before in the past myself, we get that bounce, making a 2-to-1 risk reward, and I'll be protecting position. What's going to happen? The price is going to come down, stop me out at break even, and then leave without me. And I have hundreds of trades like that. And you kind of learn from this and you say, I want to cover most of my stop loss and just leave my stop loss where it needs to be, right? And that's the main short as well, from the weekend, basically, right? Is the main short stop loss at the high. Still at the high, you want to cover the stop loss preferably, because a lower high, you might rally here to 65k and then it rolls over. And if you're protecting position in this zone of the 65k region, market's going to stop you out, maybe going to form a pump that looks like it's going to take the high and then forms a lower high and rolls over. So these are things that you adapt, because you realize that the behavior of Bitcoin does change so slightly. And one of the things that I've noticed is that we hit the 0.88 quite a lot lately, which was something that was rare back in 22, 23, even 24. Throughout 25, 26, I've noticed that many times, instead of creating a pullback to the 50% golden pocket and then form a higher low, it actually retraces many, many times. We can go through this a lot, guys, and you just need to adapt to the conditions of the new price action. If I know that after an SFP, we could retrace down to the 0.88 and then rally, such as this one yesterday, my stop loss is still going to be in place. because if I protect, I'm gonna get stopped out, and then the price is gonna go without me, which has happened to me many, many times. So it's something that I need to change, right? To even be more profitable, right? Right. So I don't get wicked out. Anyway, there's just something that I wanted to, just a little note right there, guys. We need to adapt a little bit on the new information and the new price action that Bitcoin's getting, right? And yeah, right, off we go. 4-hour time frame. Just gonna get a drink of water, guys, stretch my legs, and it's time for 4 hours. In about 15-20 minutes, short confluence to make a deal. I left about 30% my long open. I don't know if I should close it or leave her running. Un capo Andy, boss. Dacinardi, much love. Right, let me just stand up, get a drink of water, stretch my legs, smash up the like button, guys. Let's get to 200 likes in the next coming minutes, because right now we are going to, well, 150, man. Like button is low, legends. Let's go. We'll be analyzing this movement and this movement to the downside. Hold on tight, get a drink, guys, and pay attention. We're going to be focusing right now on the 4-hour, 1 hour, and then after that, we'll be focusing on the 15-minute to see what do we have here, okay? Okay, right, let's go. 4-hour time frame. It is awesome to see in the comment section people actually, taking the long and actually confirming that they got stopped out and actually covering the stop loss and making profits based on yesterday's projection, guys. Awesome to see people, right, dipping their toes, taking the trade setups that I'm going to take, for example, right? So now we need a new setup. Now I need a new setup because this is old. I've already taken all of the profits here from this long of yesterday, also that fair value gap. So now I need a new trade, right? I need a new one. I'm riding still a short from Monday, basically, which I did enter slightly late. We got the move down. I took some profits, added slightly to the position, and just covering the stop loss basically, and see if this can turn into a swing. Right, to the main target is this low, and even maybe 61k, right? Let me get that question here. I want to ask on a poll here first of all, and we'll cover 4-hour, 1 hour, and 15-minute for the next trading setup, guys. I'm in no rush at the moment. I don't have any trade locally here at the moment. Most of the profits of the long should have been taken, guys, because of the 3-wave move to the upside that we had basically between yesterday and today. This is a 3-wave move. We're coming into the CPI news. We're almost hitting the high. We're hitting the 382. Just take most of the profits on this rally. I would suggest, right, as explained yesterday. Let me ask a question right away. On a poll so we can check later on. What is next for Bitcoin? We like these ones. It's going to be 61k, which is obviously coming down to this region, or 67k, guys. Let me know right away. We're kind of in the middle. What is next for Bitcoin? Let me know, guys, on the poll that is created right now. It's interesting to see if you are feeling more bearish for the next coming days. Do you think that we end up moving down to 61k, or do we form a higher low and we get to 67k? Get your votes in. What do you think, this move or this move in the next coming days, or maybe just ranging? But obviously something's going to come first. Inevitably, right? Get your votes in, guys, so I just see the sentiment, right? Are you feeling more bullish or more bearish? Okay, and then let's cover the 4-hour time frame. There is only one bullish option, sorry. There's many bearish. There's only one bullish option for this to be the bear market low, guys. And it still needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of work, and it would take at least 2 to even 3 weeks to develop. Easily, at least, right? So it could be a month or even 5 weeks to develop. And that is a leading diagonal. There is a very big issue here. I think, you know, this is very, very high probability, a 3-wave move up, guys. I've been analyzing the waves here to try and find a motive wave, and I can't find a solid, legit motive wave, not even a contracting diagonal. We fit an expanding diagonal of some kind in this movement, but yeah, not even expanding. So I mean, this is a high probability 3-wave move to the upside, which automatically tells us that there is a very good chance in the future, give or take in the next few weeks, that this low at sub 58k is going to be claimed. So the higher time frame bias for me is more bearish. This is why I've been very interested since we created this high to try and get into a swing short trade. I attempted one here. It got stopped out with this rally. However, I did manage to re-enter a new one here, which profits were taken, but I got stopped out with this recent rally from last week. And then on Saturday, the watch before Monday video, right? You know, I want to get positioned here. I want to take some profits, cover stop loss, but I'm interested in a swing as well. And the positioning at 65k was the main option on the weekend, right? Sunday, Monday, we're looking for this double, triple top scenario here, guys, at very good, strong resistance. So I'm interested in the swing shorts because naturally I understand that this movement up is a high probability 3-wave correction, which automatically brings you the bias to take out this low. Which is the swing short that will succeed? Will it be this one? Apparently not, depending on the entry. If you got stopped out, I did. I took a bit of profits, got stopped out, protected. Will it be this one? Will it be this one? Will we come down, which is a scenario that I'll explain now, and then rally, claim the highs at above 67.2, and then we'll have to look for other resistance levels to identify a swing short position, depending on the price action, of course, guys. We don't know the exact level, but we are following up on the scenarios. Will it be this one? I don't know which one it's going to be, but I want to be positioned for that movement down at some point, because this is going to be a good profitable trade. This is going to make the month for me, right? Same as this swing long from July made me the month, right? I made about $40,000 on that pump on in July. You know, I'm interested in the big projections because I'm going in pretty heavy, right? I know that I will catch that trade, but which we need to manage, right? There's none of this BS of adding to longs and stuff like that, or adding to swing shorts. I'm going to add to the position because you're going to get wrecked if you do that. You need to follow up the price action every day, and this is, you know, it's a job basically, right? Trading is a job. You need to follow up. You need to be professional. You need to be good with risk management. And as explained, I will very likely catch that move to the downside, regardless if it's going to be this one or if that's stopped out with the rest of the position and the short is taken in a couple of weeks from here. I will be in that short, and that short idea will be shared either on YouTube or the community, just as the swing long position was mainly shared in the trading community. We were hinting a few things on YouTube, but it was confirmed in the community as we were coming down to that level of 58k zone, right? We had a monthly naked point of control, this swing long. I also had this swing long position on from a higher low on the other exchange that I have, managing to profit here also on this movement to the upside, which obviously got stopped out with a move down from a couple of weeks ago, right? So, right, let's there's only one main bullish scenario, because I understand that 3-wave up is likely bearish and we're going to likely come down to sub 58k in the future. But there is one bullish scenario which I would accept is maybe the one, but this needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of work here. And this is a leading contracting diagonal. This is the only way how we can be forming a motive wave from the low, as this is high probability 3-wave correction. Having a 3-wave correction gives you a lot of opportunities to understand that the bias is coming down to take out the low. But there's always a sneaky bullish option. And the only main sneaky bullish option is a leading contracting diagonal, which is irrelevant at the moment because it's a leading contracting diagonal. You always prioritize it on the lower part of the list. This is low probability at the moment. This will start looking interesting once you have a rally and a correction in wave 4. If we rally up in the next 1 to 2 weeks, and then we correct to the downside, which will be identified, it will be easily identified if it's going to be a high probability correction or an impulse down, that becomes interesting to long the 5th wave as a leading contracting diagonal. So there could be an opportunity to long this push to the upside. However, we need wave 3 and we need wave 4. You know, this is just an idea that this could happen, right? Until we do not have wave 3 and wave 4, we cannot be confident that this is the pattern that is going to play out. Long opportunities can be very interesting here as we get the wave 4 information overlap, right? Choppiness. Then it's like, guys, this is a high probability correction. You know, there could be an interesting long position. This is obviously going to take a couple of weeks to develop, right? But there could be a long to take out those highs identified. What will be more interesting as well is look for the short on the 5th wave as the leading diagonal. And this is just going to take time. We'll be mapping the situation if this is the scenario that's going to play out. What is common after a leading diagonal is that you at least get down to the golden pocket, okay? And even the 7-8, right? You could even still have a very, very, you know, sharp move to the downside, a steep move down in a correction. So longing and then shorting afterwards, and then maybe looking for a long. But these are swing trade perspectives, okay? But I just want to let you know that there is one right, delusional, if you wish, right? Because we are in a bear market. The market is bearish really on the higher time frame still, right? There's no reasons to believe that the bear market is low. I will only think that the bear market low is in once we've completed this diagonal. Then I'll be like, you know what, guys, maybe the low, it could be in here. This is going to be a multi-monthly swing long. This is a swing long that, in my case, I can make a lot of money. It's all about identifying the low of the bear market at the moment, which we do not have, okay? So there's no signs of the low of the bear market to be in. I think we are going to come down to sub 58k in the next coming weeks even. So yeah, this is just an idea. This is what I would have to see to be confident that the bear market low could be in, right? And we'll follow up. Just want to point out that there is a bullish scenario for the bear market low to be in, right? That's for the delusion people, right? Low could be in, maybe. Yeah, I have to say there is one scenario, and it would be this one right over here. Right, so that's that. And now let's talk about mainly all of the type of corrections that could be developed before we take out the low. And my favorite one would be the WXY. This would be my favorite one for the moment, because This movement down is high probability of correction, or still part of a correction, which is this scenario right over here, right? Where we are looking for a double zigzag. We have a 3-wave move, because we have a 5-wave move down, that the only scenario for the bears is a leading expanding diagonal, which will be explained later on. This is a low probability leading motive wave, an expanding diagonal. It's just super rare. I can't find one, if you ask me, on the charts. So you know it's very, very rare. If you can't find it on previous history, right, a couple of years, you might find 1 or 2, right, out of 1-2 years on the 1 hour time frame. It's just very, very rare. I know that something corrective is developing here, very likely. Well, I know it's very likely that we're forming a correction. So what kind of correction is possible? This would be my favorite one for the moment. And it all has to do with this movement down. This movement down that we got from $82,000 to the low is very, very likely an impulse. You got your wave 3, high volume. You got your wave 4 and 5, right? Your 1, 2s, 3, 4, 5. This is very, very classic, right? Little impulsive moves here, 1, 2s, right? Your 3, your 4, and 5. So the thing here is that as this is an impulse down, yes, a low could be in. If you finish at a low with an impulse, it might be the end of the higher time frame correction, right? I mean, there is a way of having a WXY here. It's not the most beautiful, but there is a chance here of having a zigzag, wave X, zigzag, double zigzag, and you finished an impulse here. So the fact that we we cannot say the bear market low is not in. I cannot say that. I can say it could be in. I think it's low probability that it is in, right? And I think we're forming a something different. I think what fits better here is, I'm going to explain it right away, but let's just say, because we finished an impulse here, and when you finish a high and then you get in a bear market, preferably you finish in a 5-wave impulse. So the fact that this last leg down that we had between May and June is high probability an impulse, something could be finished here. Something could be finished. However, because the move to the upside that we had in July is a high probability 3-wave correction, it's like, I don't think the low is in, right? We're probably going to come down to tackle the lows at some point. It's just high probability because of the move up. So the only scenario that we have for the bulls is the diagonal. Okay, so my favorite scenario looking at this is preferably on the Coinbase chart, which is cleaner. We don't have those crazy wicks like on Binance or Bybit. Is what we developed here, or what we are developing, is a very, very large ABC. Let me just turn this a bit larger, okay? We're doing higher time frame stuff now at the moment, guys, so bear with me. We'll be zooming in on 1 hour. Hopefully things do look a bit clearer. Probably a little bit messy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if we do zoom in, it's we can fit an impulse here very, very nicely. You got your wave 1, small, wave 3, pretty large, wave 4 and 5, which is a bit extended, but it's totally fine. Wave 3 is not the shortest wave, so it's very, very valid and very clean, right? Does look pretty clean as a 5-wave move down. The long correction here from February all the way till May, right? Nice long 3-wave move, perfect for a B wave. And what we have developed and we are busy with now is wave 2, and then boom, entering into September, October, come to the last legs down of the bear market, right? 50k, 40k, right? Even sub 40k. This is what kind of looks pretty nice for Bitcoin, in my opinion. And I would really say that, I think we are very likely developing wave 2 here. So I am leaning more on a lower high in this zone to then, get the last major push down of the bear market, right, coming into September, October. But that's what I think fits best here at the moment till we actually see the leading diagonal, right, that is on the formation here, right? Then we can change our perspective. But this is what fits best, in my opinion, right? Considering the high of the bear market, of the bull market, and it's just a very, very strong ABC, and we are where we need to be here when we go to mindpillar.com, right, in the bear market, right? These are the previous cycles, which naturally, we still easily got a nice few months in the bear market, right? All of the previous bear markets have been going down here till Q4. So yeah. By the way, if you want all of this, guys, we got all-time high drawdown cycles and order flow, everything on mindpillar.com, guys. Remember, if you do sign up throughout one of the affiliate links, you do a minimum deposit, you trade as you do, right? The fees will be covering, for you to have this long-term subscription. You literally, the fees pay for the subscription, basically. You trade as you do, you just do it throughout one of the affiliate links, and you add it, you're getting into the trading community, you're getting all of these different tools. If you are interested in that, send me the DM word access, and you get all of this, guys. Enter the community, enter MindPillar to get order flow, get CBD, get cycle drawdowns, right? All-time high drawdowns, and many different things that we are still developing here to add to mindpillar.com, guys. Okay, send me the word access, I'll share the information. Right, going back to this, Rent, then if it does make sense that now the overall question is, if this scenario looks interesting to continue the bear market, is this your wave 2? Right? Because if we are saying that this movement to the upside is high probability of 3-wave structure because we have a 5-wave move down here, is it possible that wave 2 is here? And I have to say, well, yeah, technically it is possible. It is possible. However, I'm a little bit distracted based on the move down that we had from the highs at 66.8k here. This does not, the only motive wave here is an expanding diagonal. So I'm a little bit, concerned about wave 2 being in here, and I think maybe a sideways or even a WXY double zigzag to get a leg up to plus 67k, maybe even 69, 70k here would be a thing based on the local move down that looks more corrective rather than expanding diagonal, right? That expanding diagonal in the bearish case from this zone for a wave 1. Yeah, not the best, not the best. So I'm aware of the correction still extending for the next couple of weeks. With the impulse down here, boom, 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 let's take a look at timing, which is important. I think we already crossed the 382. Yeah, just by a hair. That high, yeah, it could be that could have been the high for wave 2. Let's just say it would be valid. 3-wave up, you're almost crossing the 382, and you're hitting the 382 Fibonacci, just almost scratching. I have seen shallow wave 2s, so let's just say it could be possible that would be wave 2. But what would be best for the wave 2 is actually form a double zigzag, and this is something that I'm eyeing very, very much. I know Devil is, and also in the community are very much aware of this scenario, and that is literally this one right over here, right, as explained, WXY double zigzag. What is interesting about this is the target zone of a WXY double zigzag is the 1-to-1 to the 1236, the common target area. Where this is sitting, that is getting W and wave X. I'll explain the waves right away, but coming down here, That is the common target, 60k to 61k with the extension on Fibonacci from wave W and wave X. Extension tool is found here, right? The extension right there. We have the value area low here, also coming into the common target area. When we consider liquidity grabs, you got all of these higher lows from July that haven't been claimed with the movement down. This is a awesome liquidity grab from long trades that have been taken right throughout the last couple of weeks. This could be an incredible swing long position. It could be a very, very good, interesting swing long, which might take, 1, 2, maybe 3 weeks, right? You might think, well, we're going to come into September. There's no time for that pump. I think we go down. Well, potentially, yes. So this is what would make more sense here, for me anyway, when we consider high probability elite wave structures, because when I do look at this movement down, which has a 5-wave move, the only scenario is an expanding diagonal for wave 1. So I am aware of this. Maybe we have 1, 2, boom, and we just start collapsing in a wave 3 here, right? And then 4, and then 5. We just form an impulse down. As we get down to this zone, we need to understand how did we get down in there, right? Because I need a zigzag, and I need to detect the 5-wave move down on that wave C. Very, very patient to see how we come down there, how we react after sweeping up this liquidity and the value area low, to then, there's no quick trade. There's no quick profit. This would be a swing long. So it doesn't matter if you enter here or if you enter somewhere here, right? This is going to require a bit of patience and see how we get down there. What movements have we got? Do we get an impulse up and a correction on the 5-50-minute time frame? We'll be very, very patient to have probabilities in our side, because this is not going to be quick profits. This is going to be a trade that is going to probably last 2 to 3 weeks till you get that pump of $7,000-$8,000, just like the one taken here at the lows, understanding the impulse coming to the finish stage here, right? On a monthly naked point of control, I did clearly say in the community, this swing long position is probably going to take 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks, which it did. Understanding timing, understanding symmetry, understanding the waves. This long is not for a quick profit for tomorrow. This is going to take 2-3 weeks, very likely, to get that pump of $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 at least. Idea was to get a $10,000 pump, but we just was slightly shy on 10,000, about $9,000 of a pump right there. And most of the profits were taken throughout the end of July, right? This is all, this was all monitored in July in the community when to take profit, and it was a long July trade, swing long. So this swing long is going to take time, and I'm very interested in these kind of swings, because this is where I make most of my gains in trading, on the bigger swings, not on the little scalps and day trades. So this is something that I would be paying attention very much. 61k territory to hold. It is also the golden pocket from the pivot low to the pivot high. So the confluence here at 61k is pretty interesting to see how we get down there. Because if we nuke down from here, I would probably not be too interested. I need a 3-wave move down, because this is the scenario that I'm looking at, a WXY double zigzag. I need a, from this top, which would be wave X, because as you can see zooming in here, we have a 3-wave down, and this was a flat. We talked about this flat 2 weeks ago. I was aware of forming an impulse here of a flat, claim the highs, and rolling down. Very much of this flat being developed. already here in advance. This is something that we pointed out a few weeks ago. So what I need here is a 3-wave down, some kind of a 3-waver, which we only have one for the moment, 1 wave down from Monday, basically, and Tuesday. There's only 1 wave down. So we need either a range. We'll go through this now in the 15-minute, how the price could develop, so we can actually take advantage of this little kind of swing short to come down to sub 61k. I mean, which maybe you should be in already. I'm in already from the weekend update, the weekend short. This is a position entry. Everybody collects profits as they wish. It's nice to take profit, cover your stop loss, cover some fees, and run a free trade, right? This trade can, it's a trade that I am willing to leave open, because what if we do get down to 61k? I want to maximize profits, and I realize that that is a very good option based on this scenario. I know this scenario this is my favorite scenario, as explained also on the Saturday update. Last week I did provide also another update on YouTube, explaining that this is kind of my favorite scenario because of symmetry, because of the waves, understanding that, basically understanding the price action as we developed. So the short from the weekend or Monday is worth holding to at least to sub 62.5, or at least part of the swing short, say 50%, or even 30%. Leave a chunk open just in case we do get that extra few $1,000 dip in the next coming days. Okay, I'm just explaining my plan and how I am basically navigating the market, guys, based on the suggestions that are given here on YouTube and the community, of course, right? Devil has been the main man in the community in the last week, because I've been away and I just did 2 video updates. I was in the UK for last week. I'm doing mainly community tomorrow, trading community tomorrow. Okay, Devil's been busy with the community for the last week. So this is going to be a very, very interesting area to look for a swing long, guys, I have to say, to take out 67k, because I do think that a correction here, or correction being finished here, is high probability. Something corrective down, because the bearish case scenario is that expanding diagonal to the downside, which naturally for the main bearish case would be wave 1. You can fit a WXY double zigzag because of the overlap here, and then obviously developing that impulsive move down in the next coming weeks. I understand that this is possible because of the expanding diagonal. Is it highly likely? I think not, because an expanding diagonal is actually quite rare to see. So I'm preferring corrective structures, either unfinished, which we get down to 61k and then up, or either finished here, and we end up taking out the highs in the next coming weeks, because I know that this is a low probability scenario, despite this being a 1-2 and then 3-4-5 to finish your third wave. This is a low probability scenario at the moment based on the information that we have on the chart. And that's how we detect if this is a good trade or if this is a bad trade, right? So yeah, I don't think that this is the scenario that we're looking at. However, I'm going to be very, very cautious, of course, because if we do get a bounce here, right, we form a sideways WXY because we got the impulse down, and we don't know if this is going to be a wave 1 or a wave A. I don't know. I know where the opportunities are. Short here, long here yesterday, right? Short here on the weekend, long here, right, yesterday. But on the higher time frame, I just don't. We don't know which is the scenario that's going to play out. And for the moment, if you're feeling bearish that we are going to take out sub 58k low, at the moment, the probabilities for this to happen in the next coming days, give or take 1 week or so, is low. There is low probability for this to happen, just because of the information that we have on the chart, and not because I think it's like that. It's because of the combining the probabilities when we consider the structures of the price action using Elliott wave. This is a low probability scenario. It can happen. It can happen because there is a movement down from this high that gives us the chance of being a wave one. There is a chance, right? And even though probabilities are low, it doesn't mean it can't happen, right? When I go to the casino and I put $1,000 on zero, there's 36 numbers and zero. So there's 37 numbers. You know that I have low probability in converting those $1,000 into $36,000 in the casino if I just put all my chips and zero, right? But it can happen. It can, maybe the ball just goes into zero. I got one chance out of 37. So the odds are very low. But, the ball might just end up in zero, right? And I can make that, make that 37k. So this is like this kind of scenario, right? This is like placing, all your bets, all your chips into one number on the roulette. I would say actually 2 or 3 numbers, right? This is not that low probability when we consider it. Can it happen? It absolutely can. But when we take a look at the odds, and the probability is actually low, because this is very, very rare for a wave one. So we're not, it depends on how we get down here, guys, right? It all depends on how we come down to the valley area low, to 61k. We got good confluence there. How do we get down to 61, 60k? Golden pocket, valley area low, sweeping up this liquidity. Do we get down after a lower high in the coming days, like extremely aggressive? I will not be interested in that long until we see proof of support. And looking at the lower time frames, because I know instead of this scenario, the preferred scenario for me is this one. So yeah, if we move down, we range here between, the next couple of days, form that lower high and then push down, and we getting some support, we finding some local impulses up on the 5-15 minute, I'll be very, very interested in long. And I'm saying, right, we're getting the stop, we're seeing proof of support. This is my favorite scenario, just based on symmetry and the waves, understanding the structure and the probabilities. This is going to be a very, very good opportunity long position, but we need that information. We need proof of support. This is not going to be a trade that I'm going to make gains in 1 or 2 days. It will be a swing. I will be targeting the highs of 66.8k, the local highs here. So this is going to be a very, very, very chilled long position. Very, very chilled. But the idea is something like this based on the local information and proof of support. This is going to take a couple of weeks at least to have some decent profits. Okay, so we'll be looking at how we get down there. What do we have? Are we getting proof of support, or are we slicing through on the movement down as a wave 3, right? And then 4 and 5, maybe a double 1-2 here, 1-2, 1-2, right? And then just destroy the level, right? Boom, 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 boom. And then if we're coming down like this, I would be worried, because there's obviously the chance of the collapse down to form that impulse 4-5, right? And it just really gets down to the low 50k levels. And the price does, I'm worried if we grind to the downside as so, because I would not like this kind of price action. It will not look good. We'll be following up, of course, okay, but That's what usually happens when you're going to get a major collapse down. You form that kind of multiple 1, 2, right? Or the 1 and 2, right? And then 3. That's what happens. Something that might look like a bull flag, right? When you form these multiple 1, 2 scenarios, you just end up collapsing down, right? It happened at all-time high as well, right? All-time high looks like a bull flag, but you're grinding to the downside, and then bang. So I will be very much aware if it looks like we're forming multiple 1, 2s here in the next coming days, where you just move up, down, you get another move down and impulse back up, right? This will not be looking great. Won't be looking great. The way that we need to get down here at 6160K zone is the push down. Yeah, all fine here, a little bit of sideways, and then another push down. A 3-wave structure. Maybe you form a flat here, that's fine. Running flat and then push down. We don't know how we're going to move down into this zone, but we need to pay attention. We need a 3-wave move down here. Not multiple 1, 2s preferably, right? Because then if we do get down here, I would be very, very much aware. I wouldn't like this long position if we move down as so in the coming days, because I know it could just slice through and it absolutely collapses, right? Just like this price action. I don't want the price moving down as so, because the risk of collapsing down will be high. The way that we need to get down is as so. 3-wave structure. Correction W. 3-wave move down, right? Depending on how the correction is going to develop here. It might be a flat. It might be a triangle. I don't know. We'll have to see. So there's no rush here. Depending on how we come down here, this could be a epic swing long position all the way back up to the highs of 67K. This is the next big trade that I'm eyeing as a swing, because August has been relatively boring. Day trade, little swings. I've managed to make some gains here, but not. It's been very rangy in like a $2,000-3,000 zone, right, for the entire month of August, last week of July. It's just been a bit boring. I'm interested in these moves, and I know that this could be one move up here. I would be very, very interested in this one for August coming into September, because I know that's where I will make most of my gains. So day trading and that is all fun and good stuff. Yesterday was a good day. We did get that move of $1,000. We can't ask for much more. But yeah, yesterday's day trade ended up being good. I explained the risk management. I explained the stop losses will likely be paid, right? And I will share it on the next stream, which was today. And fast forward to today, it's been a good long trade. Ended up with 7,700 in profit, and I need to get the stop losses from yesterday out. 2,200 and the 1,200, right? And I had about 1,800 as stop loss on this latest trade. But it ended up pumping finally today with that rally of $1,000, covering the stop loss and actually making profit, right? As explained on yesterday's video, right? It will be shared. That position will be shared. So you can actually see, okay, yeah, this guy got stopped out twice, but the trade that he got into for this pump actually, paid his stop loss and actually made him, 4K profit. Okay, so it's not one of the best days, but it's fine to get stopped out, right? If you got a plan, if you got a projection. Right, so this is one of my favorite scenarios. Obviously we got other scenarios that could we got this scenario over here, and this move to the upside, it's not looking too great, because this pump that we've got right now is a higher probability corrective move. So yesterday we were talking about the low could be in here. You can fit a WXY double zigzag or even a WXYXZ. On a WXYXZ is a 5-wave corrective move, which is very rare. But you can also fit a 3-wave down correction, and a 3-wave down here. It wouldn't be very beautiful, but you can fit a WXY double zigzag here. It's not great. It's just not there's no symmetry. Wave W is extremely longer than Y, and it's just not very nice. WXY here is actually quite symmetrical and it looks nice, but it's still low probability. So with that said, maybe the low could be in here, because this rally to the upside, and I think what makes more sense here, because the movement down that we got yesterday between Monday and Tuesday is a high probability impulse. Looking at the 1 hour or 15-minute time frame, this move down does look impulsive, right? You can easily see the third wave here, the fifth wave based on the long setup of yesterday, right? And now you're looking at this. What is it? Is it an impulse or is it a correction? Well, that's what we're going to talk about now in the next coming minutes. But yesterday's bullish case is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just change this right now. And because we have an impulse down, high probability impulse, if we have an impulse down, you know, your only correction that you can have if you have a 5-wave up here is an ABC flat. So ABC flat right over here is something that has been possible. Obviously from yesterday's long idea to get to the wave 4 territory, right? 382 Fibonacci from the high to the low. This is a take profit zone, especially before the news, CPI news today. You want to, you know, you're almost at the target area from yesterday's trade setup, almost there by a few dollars. You know, just take the profits, right? Most of the profits, because we have some news coming in, and we don't know if it's going to dump or pump. And now we have a problem on the lower time frame here. You know, this move to the upside is a high probability correction, because if we were to form an impulse from the lows of yesterday, what you want to see is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Then, you know, hey, we did have wave 3 kind of price action here with increasing volume. But if you have 2 1 2s and you get this push up, you want to see a couple of 4 5s, right? Slow movement to the upsides to confirm that you are actually having a high probability impulse move up. But apparently we did not form 4 5s. We're coming back down to this high low. So do we have an impulsive move here? Do we have a motive wave? Do we have a diagonal? Contracting diagonal? 1 2 3 4 5. I think we don't. Right? It would have to be an expanding diagonal. Expanding diagonals are rare. Wave 3 can be the smallest in an expanding diagonal, you like it or not. But yeah, we know that expanding diagonals are not high probability, so the probabilities of this being something corrective is actually higher. Now, obviously, we'd have to come to the conclusion that this sideways, well, this price action is a sideways WXY if we go to the 5-minute time frame. So what we would be looking at here is a 3-wave move up in an ABC. And of course, this ABC move up doesn't mean that we come down straight away to claim this low, because it can turn into a 3-wave up, a 3-wave down, or a triangle, whatever, right? And then another zigzag to the upside to form that WXY. Maybe this does happen. in the next coming days. We'll follow up the price action. Very difficult short today, I have to say, just before the news. I didn't short this. It's just not a short that I would have taken. I had no plan to short here. So maybe this does happen. Maybe we roll down very aggressively, right? But the probabilities are still to come down to this low, because the probabilities are higher that this is corrective. It's a three-wave structure. Can this three-wave structure turn into a WXY double zigzag? Maybe yes. Can it turn into a sideways WXY double zigzag where you are retracing here a lot and then you form a flat here? And a sideways WXYs can be very, very confusing. And then you dump later on, right? I don't know. Maybe it is a three-wave up, three-wave down, and a flat, or maybe a triangle, and then it ends up breaking down. Maybe your Y is a triangle later on. We'll follow up how the price action develops, but it's too soon for me for a trade at this moment, right? It's been awesome the weekend, great short opportunity area as explained, right, on the Saturday update. Guys, get ready. Sunday, Monday, we could double, triple top. How to position yourself. We're looking for that entry, stop loss, and then obviously yesterday on the stream, right, which I did get a couple of stop losses. It's part of the game, guys, but I ended up paying my stop loss and actually making profit. So right now, with the information that is in at the moment, it's too soon, right? Too soon, guys. I can't trade every day or every hour, right? I need a high probability scenario, right? High probability short on the weekend, right? Entering into Monday. High probability long in zone yesterday at this area, right? Very interesting. We had a daily, we had this high-low fair value gap, which is the one that's going to bounce, manage risk accordingly. You can have a few attempts. The one that plays out will pay the stop loss. I know it will pay the stop loss. And as proven, right, sharing the stop loss, it did pay the stop loss and actually made some profits on that trade, right? So right now at this moment, a little bit of more information for the next trade. I'm happy. I've made profits, this week with the movement down, and I've made profits with the movement up. I don't need to rush into a trade. I don't need to rush, right? I've made profits from the short, and I'm still having an active short, okay, right over here from the plan of the weekend. I did add to this position, and yesterday's long trade ended up being profitable as well. So, I'm having a pretty decent week at the moment, and I don't want to, F up, right, my gains. So I'm remaining patient to see where it could be my next trade. And as explained, for the moment, I need to see here, right, what happens next. I need to see. Let's see, if we get a sideways move here and we come up, I know there's going to be a great shorting opportunity. Let's take a look at the confluence areas. This is going to take 1 to 2 days to develop. But I know a WXY could happen. Maybe we move down and claim the lows already, because the probabilities of claiming that low is high. So the buyers currently is that this scenario is low probability. Impulse up, ABC. And if you're looking for this to be the low, to then move up, this is low probability because of the new information that we got today. And this is likely a three-way corrective structure, so that there's a higher chance of claiming that local low here at 63.2k. It's just so that the longs are not looking too great. And I'm actually more interested in shorts at the moment because of this rally, and I know that this at the moment is low probability. So preferably looking for more downside and even claiming sub 62.2k low from last week, 2 weeks ago, is higher probability. So I'm in the short already, so I'm not too bothered of getting into a new trades. But for the people that are looking for a new trade, we need more information. How can I get into a new short if I didn't short here? Or if I didn't short, basically Sunday, Monday? How can I get into a new short with high probability? Very difficult short to enter here. Pumping into the news. The news might have just popped out, right? You preferably stay away when there's news coming in, because you know it can just rocket or it can just dump. You just don't really know how the news is going to affect the market, right? So we need to go with the charts and the analysis and the probabilities, right? So right now, this scenario is low probability, so we can get that off the chart. And the probabilities of this movement down to be a wave 1 or a wave A is higher. So this leg down for wave A, wave 1 or wave A, is high probability at the moment, which means you are looking for that low to be hit at some point in the next coming days, maybe hours. With high probability 3-wave move up. So you're looking for that low to be hit, unless we form a diagonal here, right? Which then I would say, right, there is a chance, right? There is a chance, but longs will be looked at later on. Now, you need the 4th wave to be in to speculate on a diagonal. We're not going to speculate on a diagonal if we do not have some kind of a diagonal on the formation and wave 4 being in. You know, speculating on this is silly. Why would I speculate on a diagonal if we're not even forming wave 3 yet? Opportunities would come later on, right? At support, right? Point of control, golden pocket, whatever, right? 3-wave down. Opportunities, happen later for this. And it's silly to speculate on a diagonal because it's low probability. So the probabilities at the moment is to take out that low at 63.2k, which could happen today, or it could happen in the next few days. So how do I position myself in a new short is maybe your question, right? Because this is the kind of question that I used to we are not going to 54k in one day. Yeah, that is very true. How can I position? I'll go through comment section right now, guys, but I hope that you're enjoying the education and basically how I'm basically going through the price action here. Right. Let me just stand up, get a drink of water, get that like button absolutely destroyed, guys. Much love to everybody. Remember, if we're not on YouTube, we're in the trading community. Devil has been mainly on the trading community for the last week. I'm doing trading community full on tomorrow to give the screenshots, the setups that I'm looking in, and hopefully, get into a setup by tomorrow. But yeah, trading community, open community, active traders, education, setups. You know where to find us, guys. Send me the word access down below in the Telegram if you are interested. You can get access for many months just by trading throughout one of the affiliate links down below, and you trade as you do, right? We are not financial advisors. We never say what to do. We're just sharing what I am doing or Devil is doing and what we're looking for a trade setup. You take action on your own. Very important to know, but you can see how we take in action. You see how we will post screenshots on I'm interested in taking a short here and stop loss here, and if you want to follow or you have a different plan, you can do so. You sign up throughout one of the affiliate links down below. Bluffin, 2bit, Weeks, Kraken. You got many options, and you trade on that platform, okay, with the affiliate link as you do usually. If you want to follow us, you follow us, but it's great for education. We're building up mindpillar.com, which has order flow CVD, which helps obviously with trading decisions. You got loads of data also as an investor perspective, the 4-year cycle theory and rest of it. News. We're developing also levels right over here that will be launched in the next coming hours, weekly, daily point of controls that come up automatically with a tab, right? Which is something that will help us a lot, because obviously we need to do this on our own right now, right? And yeah, you do get access to this as well. Mindpillar.com, all the different indicators and tools. We are developing more, and access to the trading community just by you signing up throughout one of the affiliate links. Minimum deposit, and trading as you do, right? Part of the fees do cover, obviously, the work that we put into the community, and obviously the work that we put in on mindpillar.com, of course, developing this powerhouse for traders. Okay, if you want information on that, you want to join and have all of this, I want access to Mindpillar, I want access to the community. Super easy to join, guys. All of the info is shared down below. Okay, if you send me the message access to the Telegram, I will send you that information. Let me just get a quick drink. Smash up the like button if you're enjoying so far the live stream, guys. We're going through all of the scenarios. Now, your main question right now, hey, Andy, the message. I missed the short from the weekend. I didn't short here, and I didn't short this pump that we had today, right? And I want to take advantage of the movement down. How do I get into a new long position, a short position? What do I need to see, right? If I missed the short here on Sunday, Monday, or I missed the short today on this pump, and I want to get into a good move down, I'll explain that right away in the next coming minutes, guys. Let me get a drink of water. Smash up the like button. Thank you so much. Almost 200 likes. Subscribe to the channel, guys. This is what we do, right? Weekend update. We rejected from 65k zone. Yesterday was a little bit punchy. We're trying to get that good risk reward, tight stop loss. I did get stopped out a couple of times yesterday, guys. Total transparency here. But I did manage to re-enter on that fair value gap, and we did get a nice pump of $1,000 for that day trade, right? So let's figure out what's the next good trade setup. I'll be back in less than a minute, guys. Let me get a drink of water, stretch my legs. Much love. Smash up the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We want to be the best of the best. Some people already think that we are the best. I'll go through comment section and we'll discuss what can we be looking for here for the next short setup if you're not in one already. Hang on a minute, guys. I just need to go up for a second. We'll discuss now the plan, okay? Back in 2 minutes. Okay. Right, comment section. Let me go through comment section right away and see what's going on here. I can see the legend himself, Mark Dutch, having fun in the chat. Good to have you here. Much love, Mark Dutch. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well, brother. Hope you're doing good, my man. Nice to see you around. Much love, my man. Awesome to see you. Right. Today move has the highest volume. Yeah, we'll see that. If you go down today, where might stop the movement downwards in your opinion? Then what about double bottom? I don't like a double bottom here. I'll explain why. Are you guys open for a market crash? Let's take a look at the poll here. What's going on? What is next for Bitcoin? 61k, 66%. Wow. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, for the moment, probabilities are higher for that. At least claim the local low. We're going to have to see how. Well, yeah, probability is actually higher that we do hit this low and even, get down below 62.2, which is the lows of last week. So yeah, it does look interesting with the information that we have here that we actually go south for the moment. Whoops, sorry about that. Right, much love to everybody. A lot more people bearish. A lot more people bearish here on the poll. So yeah, let's cover up this. So yeah, oh man, I missed the local short. So that's, that's a bit crappy, isn't it? It doesn't matter. In a short from this area, as explained, double triple top, you could short somewhere in the zone and, add to position, stop loss, give a bit of room, as explained on Saturday's video. Watch out for the double triple tops, right? We don't know exactly how it's going to develop, but the idea of shorting, in the weekend, Sunday into Monday was not a bad idea, right? So happy in that short for the moment. But how do I get into a new short or add to the existing short if I didn't short here, which is a difficult short, right? Because you might think, yeah, an SFP is cool, right? But we didn't hit that high. We almost hit it just by a few dollars. We missed it, and it was a good chance to start taking profit, understanding that this might turn into a three-wave move, right? And this is the importance of trade management, right? If this trade that we mentioned yesterday, we're looking at the local highs at 64.4 to be hit, pay attention on how we move up there, because yeah, that's all good and fun if you think that we're forming an impulse here, but what if the third wave speculation fails, which is doing so with the news event? Like, I'm going to get out of the market, right? I'm going to get out with most of the position, and I'll leave a 25% or 20% open, right? Just before the news, right? It just makes sense, guys, right? You need to use common sense when you're trading as well. So, right, high probability that this is a wave 1 or a wave A at the moment based on this bounce, because we did not develop an impulse here. Likely A, B, C, likely a three-wave move, which gives priority to take out the local lows. So right now, what is happening, we're coming down to the golden pocket 7-8. As this could be a high probability wave 1 or wave A, what would be interesting here, I mean, this is a bit aggressive. Could we be developing lots of overlap? This is very messy price action, I have to say. I mean, with the news events, it's just really crappy. Dump, choppiness, just rolling over. I want to see a big move. I want to see this could be multiple 1-2s. It's on the lower time frame. I just want to see a dump. And, potentially an impulse here on the formation. But I need that big leg. I need a separation of the overlap. Right, we have overlapping moves here, and if it is going to be multiple 1-2s on the lower time frame, which easily has at least 3 1-2s here, right, it's just very, very messy. I just want to see the dump down, and then the 4-5s, right? You want to see some kind of an impulse down, which we don't have at the moment with the local price action. We just need a big leg down for wave 3 in this case, and then get the choppiness. So once that is done, the bounce will be interesting, because I know that this is high probability wave 1 or wave A. This would be high probability wave 2 or wave B. Or maybe we haven't finished, right? Maybe we form a sideways WXY, 3-wave up, there's that here, and then we form a flat here, and then we dump down in an impulse. And that's your wave 2. Because we formed a sideways WXY. I don't know. Obviously, this requires more information to see if we are forming a sideways WXY. For the moment, we would only have W. For the moment, we're still developing X. So chill, relax. This is going to take a bit of time. It's going to take maybe a day or so to finish a sideways WXY. The Y wave most commonly does form a flat, so it can be confusing. We'll try and detect this by tomorrow. Will it be a triangle? Maybe it is a triangle. Then, shorts will be interesting at the E wave of the triangle. So then move down, right, in an impulse. But, this does require a bit of time. What if we already claim the lows? Well, what we need to wait for is to figure out if we have formed an impulse from this high. Because if this low is taken, do we get a big impulse? We've got multiple 1-2s. We suddenly collapse down in the next coming hours, and then we just form those kind of 4-5s. The bounce by tomorrow will be interesting to speculate on a lower time frame. Wave 1, right? And another wave 2. This bounce will be very, very interesting if we form this kind of impulse, which we didn't need the strong leg down with a high volume. Double 1-2, bam, collapse, by next week. That could be interesting. That's something that I would be eyeing here throughout the next 1 to 2 days. Do we form a double 1-2 here? 1-2, second 1-2 smaller, lower high, golden pocket. Today's point of control, maybe, right? We'll figure out if we have a naked point of control there or higher, right? Depending on the price action that we get today, finishing today, right? And maybe tomorrow becomes an awesome short if we have an impulse here and a corrective move to the upside coming into resistance. We'll figure that out, right? Today, right now, it's a very complicated short before the news, and a 3-wave up, which can turn into a longer sideways WXY at the moment. Sideways WXY would have higher probability instead of a double zigzag, because if you do get below the golden pocket 7-8, the 70% retracement, basically Fibonacci, the probabilities of a double zigzag to claim the highs again after finishing X is low probability if you retrace so deep, which increases the probability, of course, of forming a sideways WXY. So if we do have zigzag ups for the moment and this move down, this could still zigzag down, form a slightly higher low, and then form a flat here to then move down, and that would be WXY. So this does require some time, at least 24 hours, to see what's going on here and then to map the situation, right? Impulse down, choppy sideways WXY, where everybody's getting confused, but we do not get confused. We just wait to see what happens to then map the situation for a high probability short potential, right? So sideways WXY is possible developing in the next 24 hours, still busy with wave X, or as explained, maybe wave 2 or B is in already, but we need an impulse, which we don't have just as of yet, and we want to claim the low, preferably for that 1-2 and another 1-2. It might be a C wave, so we want to be cautious on the pump tomorrow, because if it is an ABC, then we're looking for higher. But the bounce is what's going to be interesting to take the short by tomorrow, I would say. Okay, so yeah, that's basically what we're looking at. It requires patience. I'm interested if we finish an impulse and claim the low on the bounce for a short tomorrow, or if we're forming that complex, sideways WXY where we've got W here, wave X here, and a flat on Y, or maybe a triangle. We'll monitor the situation tomorrow. Then I will be interested in the short then. I want to be cautious. I don't want to short down here. Longs are not looking too interesting at the moment, because I know there's a high probability in claiming that low. And will this destroy the low and create a very strong impulse down? Not worth having any longs for me here at this moment. It just doesn't look good. So I'm looking for shorts mainly, but we need 24 hours. If we do come down to the low, do we have any other interesting support for an aggressive sniper long? And I have to say, we don't have much here as levels. There's a 2-hour order block. We got the range point of control from July and June, sorry. It's the second highest volume node of the range, as you can see, right? Second point of control, which is this high volume node. with a 2-hour order block, we might get a reaction, but I don't think there's a very easy long trade here. There's a 2-hour order block right there with that second point of control of the range of June and July, part of August. I have no aggressive long. I'm going to wait patiently, guys. There's no long trade that I can take in this area. I think we will take the local lows from yesterday and we'll follow up to get into a new position. But I mean, come on, short from weekend Monday, long from yesterday, all good. Nice profitable move, nice profitable long in the end. Right now I'm just going to wait patiently to see what happens, how we develop this structure, and take a decision, I think, by tomorrow. I don't think I will get into a long trade tonight, maybe, but probably it will be around about tomorrow. So yeah, if you are interested in that, of course, I have the community tomorrow. I will be updating the levels and the scenarios where I want to get into the new high probability trade setup. I'm sharing my risk management, my trade scenario, the analysis, the possible scenarios that could develop tomorrow in the community. Okay, if you want that, you know where to find us, guys. Send me the word access to my Telegram down below. You'll get an automated bot on how you can join. And to get consistent subscription, you need to sign up throughout one of the affiliate links down below and do a minimum deposit for your own trading. Trade as you do, because the fees do cover the subscription. Okay, and also access to mindpillar.com for all of these tools, CBD, order flow, and rest of these different indicators that we have and we are still developing. We're going to bring some new stuff here very, very soon. Thank you guys for joining. Much love. And thanks, Mark Dutch, for joining the stream, my man. I'm in Montenegro. Andy, looking for Rene. If you know, you know. Much love, my man. Much love, Mark. Thanks, guys, for joining the stream. Yeah, much appreciated. If you didn't close the long from yesterday, where would you be having the stop loss right now? Yeah, stop loss should be break even, because this is a high probability 3-wave correction to the upside, which naturally means that taking out this low is high probability. So yeah, if you longed somewhere yesterday, fair value gap, for example, as explained on the video stream, on the stream, right? And if you didn't take, you still have some of that trade open, this stop loss should be at break even. It should be closed literally or at break even, because the probabilities of claiming that low is very high at this point. Okay, so it's not worth having the stop here beneath this low. You're likely going to get stopped out because the probability of taking the low is high. Okay, much love, guys. Thank you so much. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, join the community. You have the first link down below if you are interested. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.